Hello again, friends. This is Big Polly coming to you, and welcome to the Big Polly's World of Sports Sims channels if you've never been here before. And in this episode, we are going back to the ALTNFL of the 1970 season. And our game for you in this episode is the Washington Redskins 2-0-1 facing the Baltimore Colts, who are 3-0 coming into this game. This is two teams in the Eastern Division. And we also want to point out that after week 3, after 3 weeks of play in the old NFL, we have 13 teams right now at 2-1, 2-0-1, and 3-0. So it's been a very exciting first 3 weeks of the season. And let me get out of OBS and get you to this game. It's a Monday Night Football game. Dun, 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 dun. So we will be showing you the games that were played the prior day after this episode. And if you are new to the Alt NFL, as I open up a can of Czech Diet Soda, and that's exactly what I'm drinking, friends. We have geographical divisions. We do not have conferences. The best 8 teams will make the playoffs, the 4 division winners, and then the 4 next best teams, the wild cards, and you get seeded based on your record and not based on specifically winning a division, although that is the first tiebreaker. If we have a team like, say, at 11-3 that won the won and a team that went 11-3 and did not win the division, well, the team that won the division would get the nod. So we go to Memorial Stadium on an October night, and when we play Monday night games, if you remember my HTFL sorties, we take 10 degrees off the temperature. So it's going to be 63 degrees. We will play as both offenses, so the computer will coach both defenses. So I hope your May 12th went well. I'm recording this the prior evening of May 11th, so it's Sunday. And doggone it, I forgot to do the rosters again. So throw out what I said about the weather. And we're going to have to do an abort here. Hang on, folks. We will do this again. I forgot to do rosters, and this is why I hate doing rosters. So throw out what I was saying about the weather, as we just do a quick roster reboot for all 26 teams. So we got 13 teams at 2-0-1, 2-1, 3-1, not 3-1, 3-0. So I should have said 2-1 or better. Actually, I think that's what the graphic read. So now we could go back and shave 10 degrees off the weather, which we will do. Go back to Washington and Baltimore. Set up both defenses 63 degrees. So we'll just save to make it 53 degrees. Which in October in Baltimore, I imagine, is something that could happen. We're at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. And now we can set this up. And here are your offensive, defensive matchups. Baltimore comes in with the best defense in the league, coached by Don McCafferty, at 6.5, I think it was, if I saw correctly. But Washington has one of the more better offenses. They're only second right now, to whom I did not catch. And Washington wins the toss. Remember, there's no deferments. And in 1970 of the kickoff, so we have a guy number 29, number 46, number 32. Bechter is back deep. And he's going to take a knee and take a touchback. We will show you the Washington offense first. And I have figured out how to go from the offense of Washington to the Baltimore defense. It's right down here. But sometimes when you're in the fog of war of doing these games for YouTube, you forget these things. Sonny Jurgensen out of Duke is your quarterback. He is so far a 78.6 passer rating. He has thrown for 7 touchdowns, but has also thrown for 5 interceptions. Larry Brown, off to a good start, 270 yards, so he's averaging 90 a game. Charlie Haraway is the they'll play in a pro set formation because they're both one blockers. You see Haraway there. You have Charlie Taylor and Walter Roberts, Your wide receivers, Jerry Smith, the tight end out of Arizona State. And it's Walt Rock, Paul Lavig, I guess, Len Haas, Ray Schenke, and Jim Snowden will be the offensive line. So we're in a split formation, and Action PC has set that up correctly for we. And you know me, I'd just like to do something very elementary on the first play. And it's going to be Larry Brown for a 1-yard gain brought down by the Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks. And we will now show you the Baltimore defense. The front four, Roy Hilton, Fred Miller, Billy Ray Smith, and Bubba Smith. Later of Police Academy and several other movies, fame. The linebackers is Bob Grant, Mike Curtis, the Mad Dog, and Ted, the Mad Stork Hendricks. Your defensive backfield, Tommy Maxwell, Rich Volk, Jerry Logan, and Charlie Stukes. We'll show you the Baltimore offense and the Washington defense when Baltimore gets the ball. So on 2nd and 9, we're going to run a sweep to the right, run a counter play, which would later be a Washington specialty with Joe Gibbs. And that is a 3rd and 6 now coming up for Washington as Larry Brown went on the right side for 3, Hilton making the tackle. So we'll go 3 wide, limited formations in 1970. I don't think anybody was playing 4 wide or 5 wide offenses. And they haven't invented the run and shoot yet. We're going to go to Mr. Reliable Jerry Smith on 3rd and 6. There's the throw. There is the... No! Smith dropped it. Smith dropping the pass. That looked like a first down for sure. And Washington will punt. They're going to send Mike Bragg into the game. Gardin, Gardin, is your lone setback. He catches it in between the 30 and the 35. He moves up 6 yards. Harris is out for the game. He was injured, a special teamer. So let's show you first the Baltimore offense before we run the first play. It's Johnny U, of course, out of Louisville, age 37 at this point in his career. Norm Bulaich and Jack Maitland are your wide receivers. Of course, there's a Maitland here in the Orlando suburbs. Your receivers are Eddie Hinton and Roy Jefferson. Jefferson has been playing extraordinarily well. He's averaging 113 a game, 17 catches, 340 through 3. The tight end, of course, another very reliable player on this Colts team for years is John Mackey out of Syracuse. In your offensive line is Bob Vogel, Glenn Ressler, Bill Curry out of Georgia Tech. 6'3", 235, and that just shows you back then you did not have big beefy guys playing on the offensive line. John Williams and Dan Sullivan. Curry, I think, would be a college football coach in a few places and do some analysis for ESPN. So let me just look at 36 a little more. Maitland. Well, what kind of blocker is he? This is the first time I have played as Baltimore. He is a 2 blocker, so I should put him in the... They should put this team in the I. No. I'm getting a new mouse, by the way, because this one is just messing up on me left and right. It's going to be a sweep with Bulaich on first down, and he gains 4 yards, and McClinton making the tackle for the Washington Redskins, who were still the Redskins for many years. Your front four, John Hoffman, Floyd Peters, who would go on and be an assistant coach, I think maybe even a head coach a few places. I know he was an assistant coach for Tampa Bay for a little bit in the either late 80s or early 90s. Frank Bosch, no relation to the Bosch you see on Prime Video, that detective series, which I happen to like. It's really good. And Bill Brundage, your front four. Harold McClinton, Marlon McKeever, and Chris Hanberger, an outstanding offensive line, outside linebacker out of North Carolina. Mike Bass, who would score the lone touchdown for Washington in Super Bowl VII. And Pat Fisher are your corners. John Jacqua and Brig Owens, your safeties. And now you've met all the starters. And on 2nd and 6, we're going to go off tackle right with Maitland. Maitland Only gains a yard, tackled by Owens, and it'll be 3rd and 5. We'll go double tight and put a man in motion. And we're going to look to John Mackey here on a... Actually, Mitchell has the better completion percentage odds at 56.3. And we'll go to him on 3rd and 5.
False start. Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty.
Bill Curry gets called for a false start penalty. Let me just double check OBS, making sure it's running. Very good. And I got my microphone on. Okay, 3rd and 10. So now we're going to look for Roy Jefferson on the short hitch. And Unitas is lambasted by McKeever. He is tackled for an 8-yard loss, a quarterback sack for McKeever. And just like the Redskins, David Lee is going to come in the punt. Did not catch who the returner is, and he gets the punt away with plenty of room to make his punt. And that was Roberts, a 3-yard return for he, and that is a punt of Lee for 43 yards. If you watch YouTube, you can see a Monday night game where David Lee is punting, and it sets up a Rams free kick, which is something you very rarely see in the NFL. But somebody was going through the history of free kicks. Of course, there was a free kick that was made this season by the LA Chargers. It's going to be Brown. We'll get the ball again on 1st and 10. The ball at the 29 as we began this series from scrimmage. And Volk made the tackle, so we got into the secondary, and that's a gain of 4. 2nd and 6. The ball is at the 33. Let's go to Pat Richter. And that is incomplete. So both teams struggling offensively, but we are just beginning this game. 4 minutes and 50 seconds in. We're going to go medium slant to Charlie Taylor, who comes in as the 3rd receiver. He's got it.
Offense, number 73, 15-yard penalty.
And then, if you're new to the ALTNFL 1970 series, holding penalties are a real B in the NFL in the early 70s. From 70 to 73, they were 15-yard penalties. So Jurgensen's going to have to put it up. Let's see here. Yeah, he can only get about 15 yards. He's going to have to put this baby up on 3rd and 21 from the 18 and hope he doesn't get sacked. The throw, incomplete, overthrew Taylor, Charlie Taylor. Good coverage by Stukes. And Washington will punt again. Here is Mike Bragg. He's punting from about the 5-yard line. And the return by Garden was for 6 yards. Punt was 43, so that would be a 37-yard net. And that gives Baltimore good field position at their own 45. We're going to go inside with Bulich.
Holding, offense, number 72, 15-yard penalty.
And Baltimore gets bitten by the holding bug, and that's going to back them up 15. It's going to be 1st and 25. So some vintage football for you. This is a historical project, and we hope to be doing this long enough to eventually get you to the 21st century at the very least. If I live long enough, I guess. Jefferson on the short hitch gets it, and that is a completed pass, the first of the game for Johnny U. Jefferson in the last game against Boston. Now Baltimore and Boston play in the Eastern Division against each other, so it's like they were in the AFC East and they play each other twice. They were the Boston Patriots, not the New England Patriots at this point in time. Jefferson went 8 for 161 and 2 touchdowns. But right now it is 2nd and 16. We're going to try to run Bulich. I'm going to struggle with that name all episodes, so forgive me, any Baltimore Colts fans out there. And Baltimore gets back to the original line of scrimmage as Bulich runs for 6, and that is his 2nd carry of the day for 10. We'll put one of the receivers in motion. That is, I believe, Hinton, Jefferson, and Orr, I think, comes in. And we'll go to him on the short out on 3rd and 10. Unitas getting good time, and it went to Orr, a gain of 10, and that has been deemed good enough for the first down. So a 1st and 10 now, after a 1st and 25 was converted, and that'll give Baltimore a shot in the arm. We're going to go back to Bulaich, I guess you could say. I don't know the pronunciation off the top of my head, so forgive me, any Baltimore Colts fans. That's a gain of 2. Brundrich making the stop. Defensive end out of Colorado. You see him there. And that is 2nd and 8, the new down and distance. And now we're going to look to John Mackey, a very reliable tight end for the Colts for many a year. Unitas gets happy feet. He scrambles, but he runs right into Floyd Peters. A gain of a yard. Like a lot of teams in 1970, Baltimore struggles with the run. They are a C-. They are a B- passing. Washington's defense not all that good, as evidenced by the 37-all tie they played with Buffalo the prior week, and where there were 37 points in the fourth quarter by both teams. They're a B- run, a C- sacking, and a C passing, and they're a B- overall. So let's try to go into the air on 3rd and 7, and we're going to look to Roy Jefferson. I'd say this has a good chance of succeeding, and it does. Bass on the tackle for the Washington Redskins. It's a gain of 10 yards. Of course, Baltimore went to the Super Bowl and won it in the 1970 season. They defeated Dallas, but there are no conferences. There are just geographic divisions. Bulaich loses a yard. Hamburger makes the tackle, and it's now going to be a 2nd and 11. Bulaich probably going to be replaced here in a few plays. Thank goodness. Screen to Maitland on 2nd and 11. That is completed. A gain of 7. McKeever, one of the linebackers, makes the tackle. And that's going to set up 3rd and 4. So we're going to have a game from Week 4, which we are doing right now, a game from Week 5 on Wednesday, and a game from Week 6. I will also do a Thanksgiving game on, I think it will be, that's Week 11. So we're going to have 15 regular season games for you all.
False start. Offense. Number 72, 5-yard penalty.
And Vogel again. Vogel has now racked up 20 yards in penalties, and we're still in the first quarter. So that turns a 3rd and 4 into 3rd and 9. We'll go Eddie Hinton on the short slant. Unitas gets it away, but nobody in the area. It's an incompletion, and with the rules being what they were in 1970, it's pretty much a free shot for Jim O'Brien, unless the kick gets blocked or there's a struggle with it. And O'Brien, just as he did, the hero of Super Bowl V, boots it home from 38, and the Colts take a 3-0 lead. Vector, Dyer, McKeever all back deep. It's 1 yard in the end zone. We're going to run it out. Try to give Washington a little shot in the arm and try to get them a nice play here. And it got past the 20, so it was worth it. Curtis on the stop. It was a 26-yard return. So the Redskins now trailing 3-0. Got to look to get something going here. They can exploit this secondary of Baltimore's. They have a 7 and a 5 at the corners, and the safeties are going to be a little bit more of a trouble, with Logan being an 8 and Vogel being a 7. So let's look for that 5. It's going to be Tommy Maxwell, so he's against Walter Roberts. So on 1st down, we're going to go play action, and we're going to try to find Roberts on the slant. A little too high, we're guessing. And that's an incomplete pass. It's going to be now a 2nd and 10 from the 25. And we'll go to Larry Brown. And he only gains a yard. Smith on the tackle. Either Bubba or Billy Ray. It didn't say. And it's going to be 3rd and 9 now for the Colts. For the Redskins. The Colts defense trying to force a 3 and out. Quick pass to Roberts. And Jurgensen having trouble fading back. Curtis pops them. The ball pops loose, and Baltimore has it. Curtis with the recovery. So a dramatic change of events here for the Colts, and it's a 1st and 10 from the 21. And I think this is a good time to try to strike while the iron is hot. And we're going to go medium fly to Mackey. Only a 40% chance of a completion, but a 27% chance of a touchdown. But that is an incomplete pass. Beg your pardon. You just heard me kind of quasi-burp. Bulage on an outside run. And he gains 4. Bosch on the tackle. 3rd and 6 at the 17 now. 1:54 left in our first quarter. And with that 9 o'clock opening kickoff, I'm sure the fans are very well lubed up in Baltimore. And on 3rd and 6, we're going to throw the hitch to John Mackey. Unitas back, and that's overthrown. Jacqua on the coverage, and Baltimore's going to have to settle for 3 again. This will be a 34-yard try. I take that back. It's a 24-yard try because the goalposts are on the end lines in 1970. Oh, and O'Brien shanked that. And Redskins are very fortunate to get the ball only trailing 3-0. That was a shakeopotamus there. And I'm going to try to run out Brown to the outside on 1st and 10. If I remember correctly, Washington did contend, but of course they had the passing in the preseason of Vince Lombardi, who had just joined their staff in 1969. And in that 1969 season, they played very well for Mr. Lombardi. 2nd and 7. How about Haraway on a trap left? As we near the end of the first quarter, no gain for Haraway, and that'll do it for the first quarter. There is no wind advantage, so we should just let the clock run down. And after a quarter of play, it is Baltimore 3 and Washington nothing. They have a 3rd and 7 now. No shotgun formation can be used, which sounds historically accurate. We'll go to Taylor. And Jurgensen is back. He's already committed 1 turnover today. That's a pick by Rich Volk. And the Baltimore defense seems to have Sonny Jurgensen's number very early in this contest. That was returned 27 yards to the Washington 6. And Baltimore now have a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line, as I was just stating. Here will go Maitland on an inside run. And Maitland with a 3-yard gain. Bosch on the tackle. We'll go full house and bring in Havrelak. And we will try to get him the ball, his first carry in a full house. Number 17, Havrelak close to the goal line. Owens making the stop. And the ball is now at the 1. Triple tight end. Actually, that doesn't really work all that well because Roy Jefferson is the 3rd tight end. So we'll just say double. Havrelak is now in for Bulalich. We're just going to sneak it over with Johnny U. And he's got it. Touchdown, Colts. And they add 6 to their tally. They're now up 9-0. Can O'Brien hit an extra point here? He can. And it's 10-0 with 13-19 left to go in the first half. Baxter, Dyer, McKeever. You know the cast of characters by now. We'll just take a knee 2 yards in, and Washington will convene at their own 20. Walter Roberts on the short hitch.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 76, 5-yard penalty.
We are going to accept it, take the 1st and 5 instead of the 2nd and 2. And look to Larry Brown. Washington's running game not all that successful. And no gain there as Ted Hendricks makes the tackle. 7 carries, 12 yards as a team. Brown has 6 carries for 12. So on 2nd and 5, we are going to go to Jerry Smith on a short hitch. Jurgensen has started 0 for 5 and has thrown an interception. And Volk nearly got to that one. Another interception, almost. Now Jurgensen is started 0 for 6. And on 3rd and 5, will show you that on third down, it's down here in the lower right of your screen, that Washington has started 0 for 4 on third down conversions. Okay, we're going to act like we're going to throw it deep, but we're actually going to go to Larry Brown on the screen pass. Looks like he's open. He's going to get the ball, and he'll get the first down. He'll get way more than that, a gain of 23. Volk on the tackle for the Colts. And Washington with, I believe, their best field position of the game thus far with 12:08 left to go in the opening half. They trail 10-0. Go back to Brown. See if he could cash in on that momentum off the swing pass, but no. Mike Curtis with a good tackle. Brown now with that one catch for 23. He has 7 carries for 11. And Jurgensen finally throws his first completion. He's 1 for 7 with an interception and now 23 yards. On 2nd and 11, see if I got a second back I could use here. Just try to give him a new look. And we'll go to Dyer. Henry Dyer. Trap right on 2nd and 11. Just give him a carry. 5-yard gain. Logan on the stop for the Colts. He is out of West Texas A&M, as you see here. In the 1970 season, he was 29 years of age, 6'1", 185. 3rd and 6 now. Try a random short pass and look for Charlie Taylor, 42. And Jurgensen's going to throw that way, and he's got his man. Tackled by Stukes after a gain of 7. Taylor, 4 for 112 in that 37-37 tie with Buffalo. And it's now 1st and 10 for the Skins at the Colts 41. We'll go Brown outside. A blitz is being shown. Jurgensen will call an audible and try a screen to Haraway, which he completes, and that's another huge gain for Washington, 19. Against Buffalo last week, Jurgensen was 16 of 33 for 295, 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. A 1st and 10 at the 22. So Jurgensen having success with the screen. We're going to sweep right with Brown. 2-yard gain. I believe Brown had a hearing disability, which Vince Lombardi figured out, and he figured out a way for him to hear better, calls in the huddles and so forth, if I remember my old Howard Cosell correctly, stories, or I picked up that story somewhere, and it's now a 2nd and 8 for the Skins. We'll look to Charlie Taylor again on the short hitch. That is completed. That's a gain of 5. Taylor double covered, beat the double. Stukes making the tackle, and it's 3rd and 3. So Washington in good position to get at least a field goal here. They're going to go 3 wide, and we're going to try that short pass again. And not a rollout. We want to go put a man in motion. And we're going to make them think we're going to throw to Taylor, but we're going to throw to Jerry Smith. Smith went in motion. Jurgensen. Smith, the intended receiver, Volk came by, knocked the ball out, and it's 4th and 3 for the Skins. I'm sure they just want to get on the board. So Kurt Knight's going to come on and try a field goal from 22, which he hits, and it is 10-3 with 7:29 left to go in the half. We are halfway through the second quarter plus a second. Duncan, a return threat, back deep with Garden and Maitland. Duncan is 35. He catches it at about the 3. Moves forward past the 10, past the 20, past the 30, and out to the 36. That's a gain of 33 yards. Vactor made the tackle for the Skins, who now only trail by 7. Haverlack in the double tight end formation. And he will gain 8 yards. Jacqua making the tackle, and that's a safety that Baltimore should probably exploit by putting 2 tight ends in the game. And we'll go to Tom Mitchell here on the short hitch. Should have gone play action. That is caught by Mitchell. Jockla making the tackle. So they exploit the weakness in the defensive backfield that Washington has, and that's a gain of 10. Ball is at the 46 of Washington for a 1st and 10. And we'll stay with Havrelak. And he's going to gain 2. He has 3 carries, 12 yards. Bosch making the tackle. And at the 44, Bosch is a 5 defensive tackle, so it's not exactly a Bosch legacy. But tip the field. And on 2nd and 8, Wulalich is going to come to be doing that all night. Sorry, folks. We'll just call him Norm. A fumble by Norm. Hamburger recovers, and just like that, the Redskins have it at their own 38. And Baltimore commits their first turnover of the game after the Redskins committed 2. And that screen pass has been working so well for Washington. Let's try it again and go to Haraway. Completed, and that's going to be 4 yards. Logan on the stop. And Jurgensen, after starting, I think he started 0 for 7, is now 5 of 12 for 58 yards. How about Charlie Taylor on the slant? It's there. Completed for 8 yards. Stukes on the tackle. And now Washington has gone to midfield. 4:03 to go. Play action, and we're going to look for a medium fly route out of Jerry Smith. And Jurgensen just stayed in the pocket too long, and Ted Hendricks eventually came and got him, and that was a loss of 12 yards. Ball is now at the 38 of Washington, so they are now 62 yards shy of pay dirt. We'll go to Brown on the screen, try to get some of that yardage back. And this screen's been working all game except right there. Brown dropped it, and it's 3rd and 22. And Jurgensen's going to have to put this up and throw it down the field. And let's see here. He's going to go to the Taylor because that's the least likely of the interception odds at 5.5. If he went to Smith, it'd be 8.9. Brown's at 3.0, but his odds are 27.7. So let's see what Jurgensen can do here. And that's completed. A gain of 26 yards to Taylor. And that is his 4th touch of the game, 4th catch for 46. And we will go to the 2-minute warning with the score 10-3 in favor of the Colts. How about a quick pitch to Brown in the 3 wide receiver formation? Brown gets it, and he's got a hole, and that's a gain of 9. Curtis on the stop. Washington will hurry to the line and not use one of their timeouts. And we'll look to Taylor on 2nd and 1 from the Colt 27. That's a catch by Taylor, and nobody is going to touch him. And he's in the happy place. A touchdown for the Redskins. Cut Baltimore's lead to 10-9. Kurt Knight in for the point after to see if it'll evaporate, and it does. And we are at 10-10 with 1:30 left to go in the half. Duncan back deep, but he's not going to get it. It's going to be number 30. Caught it, I think, at about the 12. Moving up past the 30, past the 35 to the 36. That was Garden. Vactor on the stop. So Johnny U, no stranger to the 2-minute drill throughout his illustrious career. Just going to try to find the middle of the field until we're down to 1 timeout. Unitas with a lot of time. Jefferson had that one. Bass with the hit. The ball is knocked loose, and it's an incompletion. Each team with all timeouts left. And they're going to call a draw to Maitland here on 2nd and 10.
Encroachment, defense. Number 78, 5-yard penalty.
Lloyd Peters gets called for encroachment. It's 2nd and 5, and we have 1:06 left to go in the half. We'll go back to the air. We'll go back over the middle to John Mackey. This was a strategy that a lot of coaches used in the last 2 minutes in the 70s. Just go to the middle. Just go to the middle of the field, burn your timeouts. And Baltimore's going to use their first at the Baltimore 48 on a 1st and 10. Put a man in motion, go medium pass. Baltimore scored the first 10 points of this game, but Washington has come back with 10 unanswered. Jefferson, the intended receiver here. They go to him. He was in motion, and Jefferson is gone. Touchdown, Colts. So the Colts quickly answer the bell. O'Brien puts the extra point through, and it's 17-10 with 50 seconds still left. And we have an unknown special teams player, 00. So I should probably update that. Vector returned that 34 yards to the 34. So somebody got injured on special teams, and I'm going to need to fix that. Otherwise, like say they score a touchdown, their extra point performer will not be accredited with the extra point. I found that out using Action PC 2024, and it doesn't look like they fixed that bug. And it's 1st and 10 from the 34. It's an off-tackle left to Larry Brown with 42 seconds to go. Washington, if they get a gain, could use their timeouts, and they're going to use one of them here with 35 seconds. So they're going to put Jurgensen in the play and hope they get a score here of some magnitude. We'll go Taylor. A throw and an incompletion.
Roughing the passer. Defense. Number 20. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
But Logan got in there late and put a bodacious hit on Sonny Jurgensen. That'll send them to CBS real quick. Actually did basketball during one of the playoffs in the 70s for CBS. And he was no stranger to basketball, playing football at Duke. Of course, Duke with that rich college basketball tradition. Now a 1st and 10 at the 45. How about a medium out here to Roberts with 29 seconds now left in the half. That is a catch, and that is a score. Roberts goes all the way. And we have a 17-16 game. Knight with the successful point after. So this game has opened up tremendously after a slow start. Washington with 180 yards. Jurgensen has exploded. He's now 9 of 17 for 164. Unitas is 7 of 11 for 105. So Baltimore gets the ball. They still have 2 timeouts, and they could still push the ball downfield if they want. And this returned by 35, past the 30, past the 40. That's Duncan, who goes 48 yards to the 49. Field goal range, keep in mind, with the goalposts on the goal line, all they got to do is get it like to about the 45 of Washington. So we're going to try that. We're going to go to Jefferson here on the short hitch with 13 seconds to go. That is a completed pass to Mackey, a gain of 8. And we will call time with 6 seconds left. The odds of a field goal, 26%, but I'm going to try it. This will be O'Brien for from 50. No good, and time expires in the first half. And your surprising score after the slow start we had in this game is Washington 17, Baltimore 17, and I will be back with the second half. And then after that, we will look at the Week 4 games right after this. You're watching the Big Paulie's World of Sports Sims YouTube channel. So your score at halftime, 17-17 between Baltimore and Washington. Neither team has yet to lose in this ALTNFL 1970 season. I will remind you all that tomorrow we'll have the Omnibus Golf Tour from you from Mexico, the Mexican Open, final round coverage of that. Should be an exciting tournament. Baltimore gets the ball to start the second half. Let me just double check to make sure I'm on the right page on OBS. I am. 144 net yards for Baltimore, 180 for Washington, who are using the Green Bay Packer type logo in 1970. And let me just go through the stats real fast. First downs, 8 for Washington, 6 for Baltimore. Baltimore with the most penalized team, 5 for 45. Washington, 2 for 20. Time of possession, 8 seconds away from being equal. Washington has had it 16 seconds more. Washington, after a slow start on third down conversions, has now gone 3 for 8. Baltimore 3rd and 6, and neither team has tried for a first down on fourth down yet. Kurt Knight ready to kick off to Duncan, 35, and it looks like he's going to the ball. He caught it at about the 3. Duncan past the 10. Crowd looks like they like how this is setting up. Duncan past the 30, past the 40,
Illegal
in the
block.
Washington
Receiving
territory.
team, 15-yard penalty.
But we're hearing from the Zebras that May has been called for an illegal block at the 44. So this is only going to back the Colts to the 29. So it's not a killer penalty because it happened so far downfield. Double tight end set, so Haverlack is in for Norm. Number 17, he's going to get the ball. I think he had a big role in Super Bowl V. I remember seeing that number 17. If you've seen the John Facenda Super Bowl V film, he's rather prominent in Super Bowl V. McClinton making the tackle, and it's a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 coming up now at the 32. They'll try a double tight end 1 running back formation, and we're going to throw to Roy Jefferson out of it. And that's a completed pass. Jefferson, a 12-yard gain before being tackled by Mike Bass. Jefferson now 4 for 83. He had a touchdown in the first half. Also, stay tuned for the end of the game. When we go through the highlights, we'll pick the Week 5 game that we'll be doing for you Wednesday night. Here's Norm. We'll just call him gain of 2. Bosch on the tackle. And it's 2nd and 8. We'll go to the 2 wide receiver double tight end formation and do a play action short pass to Hinton on 2nd and 8. That's an incompletion, and that puts Unitas at 9 for 14 for 125 yards on the day. I noticed that there is a lot of nostalgia for prior baseball seasons on YouTube. Love the project Ron Chuckett's been doing, the seasons he's been doing. He's currently doing the 1956 baseball season, the year Mickey Mantle hit the Triple Crown. And on 3rd and 8, wonder how much a 1970 replay interest will garner. And if it does not garner interest, I'm totally fine with that. Here's Hinton. On 3rd and 8, we'll go back to him here. That's a completed pass. Fisher had to turn around to grab him, and that's a gain of 13 yards. And it's now a 1st and 10 Colts at the Redskins 41. Both teams in the Eastern Division, so they will play again later in the season at RFK. We'll go back to Haverlack on 1st and 10. Gain of 5. McClinton on the tackle for the Redskins. Now a 2nd and 5 from the 36. They'll go into a 1 tight end set. Bulaich on a trap right. And that's a gain of 2. We'll do all the playoff games, by the way, all 7 of them. No, we're not doing a Pro Bowl. 3rd and 3. That takes too much work. 3rd and 3. And we'll go Mackey. Play action. We'll get a little greedy here. Go medium slant to Mackey. And that is incompleted. Jacqua with good defensive coverage. And 48% chance O'Brien can hit this from 41, but we're going to send them out there. It's good. And the Colts take a 20-17 lead. 9:55 now left in the 3rd. Vector, Dyer, McKeever back deep. So Vector is on the kickoff special teams and the kick return special teams. And we see that a lot in 1970 because there's only 40 players on the roster for each team. And that would change, I believe they changed that in 74. Somewhere I have the pro football, not pro football reference, but pro football history. They have a history of the roster limits. So anyway, Vactor, a 31-yard return from the goal line to the 31 before Mike Curtis made the stop. How about running a Vince Lombardi special, the old counter sweep with Larry Brown? Brown has it. Trying to turn the corner. He does so successfully and will gain 6. Hilton on the tackle. One of the defensive ends. And it's now 2nd and 4 from the 37. Washington not too successful. Neither has Baltimore been rushing the ball. They have each gained 3 yards per carry. And we're going to go outside. And we're going to go to Haraway this time on 2nd and 4. Give Larry Brown a blow. And Haraway just short of the first down. Grant making just enough of a tackle to force a 3rd and inches. Double tights, inside run, and we're going to go to Jurgensen. He's going to call his own number here on 3rd and inches, and he will get it, and he gains 6 before Grant makes the stop. I am not a believer, as I have said in previous episodes, I'm not a believer in limiting carries, catches, throws, because it's not like baseball where you know that a pitcher will get tired after a certain point. If a running back gets the ball 40 times, does he know he's tired? I don't know about that. Pitch right, Larry Brown on 1st and 10 from the 47. And Washington has crossed midfield on a gain of 4. Grant making the stop. Brown now at 12 carries with 38. Washington's per rush average is now up to 3.3. A 2nd and 6. Those screens have been lethal for the Redskins. We'll go back to one and go back to Larry Brown. That's incomplete. In and out of the hands of Brown, and it will now be a 3rd and 6. We're going to bring Charlie Taylor in and go his way on a short hitch. Redskins trailing by 3. That was overthrown by Sonny, and it's now 4th and 6 from the 49. No field goal is possible here because the field goal box is not lighting up, so Bragg will punt. And with the ball inside the 10, we'll hope it'll go in for a touchback, which might not be the best of strategies. It's down at the 5. At the 6, I beg your pardon. That was a punt of 43 yards for Bragg. Baltimore 20, Washington 17. With 6:11 now left in the 3rd. Maitland, outside run. Maitland's going to have to dodge the goalpost. A fumble, and that is retained by Baltimore. Wrestler making the fumble recovery. He out of Penn State. Played for Joe Paterno, and it is a 2nd and 10 now. Going to have to play it safe here, 6 yards away from our own goal line. Bullage just dodges 53, and that is going to set up a 3rd and 7. That was a 3-yard gain. 53 was McClinton. Hoffman making the tackle. And on 3rd and 7, I think Baltimore is just going to play it safe and try a screen pass to Norm Bullage, and that is overthrown. Unitas now 10 of 17, 138 yards. They've committed 6 penalties. Otherwise, you'd think they would be up a little more. David Lee punting from his end zone. Punt is away. And taken, I'd say, at about the 39 or 40. No, 41 by Roberts. That's a gain of 7. Nichols on the stop for the Colts as they trail by 3 with 4:29 now left. In the 3rd quarter, we'll go Brown on the sweep right. Hope they get good blocking, and that's a gain of 6. So the running lanes opening up as the game progresses. We saw that in the second game we did in week 2 between St. Louis and Chicago. You keep going to the running game, it pays dividends later. And we're going to go, let's see here, we're going to go trap right Haraway on 2nd and 4 from the Baltimore 46. That is no gain. Hilton making the tackle. And we're going to go 3 tights and a short hitch to Jerry Smith. And that's caught. A gain of 9. Volk on the tackle. You saw Smith getting a little separation from Volk, number 21, and that was good enough for the catch. 1st and 10 for Washington at the Colts 37. A good chance to at least tie the game here, barring a turnover. Back to Brown on the outside. And that's going to be a tackle at the 35 by Grant, setting up a 2nd and 8. Pitch left, Haraway. And that was the 20th rush. Both teams about 50-50 in terms of whether or not they're running the ball or throwing it. One of the Smiths made a tackle for Baltimore for a 3-yard loss. That's going to set up 3rd and 11. We're going to go 3 wide, but we're actually going to put Jurgensen to work on a draw, just try to procure the 3. And Jurgensen did not get far. Hilton with the tackle. Smith, an undisclosed injury, shaken up on the play, but it looks like he's going to stay in. So on 4th and 13 from the 40, we will go to the 4th. Let time expire. And we'll put Kurt Knight in to try a field goal of 47 yards, which is no good. And my computer is about to go wonky here. And I don't have my camera plugged in, otherwise I would talk to you a little bit. So let me just show you an image of the ALTNFL. I created this logo on Canva, and I will show you that while I talk to you and get the game reset up. I hope Dave Cook will find a remedy to this soon. Missed field goals always seeming to crash the game. So it's 20-17. Baltimore is going to get the ball back, and as I was telling you early, we have 13 teams that are either 2-1, 2-0-1, or 3-1 coming into the game. Okay, I double-clicked you. Action PC Football appears to be open or may not have been properly closed. Yes, I've seen this several times, and it's never burned me. So we're just about back, folks. I thank you for your patience. And we can get back to the game here in a moment. Go play, resume game. And we'll go to the current play. And Baltimore's going to get it at the 20, and I got to go in the game setup and set myself up to coach both offenses. 14:55 left in regulation, and there is no overtime, so I just should say in the game. And we're at 20-17 in favor of the Colts, looking to go 4-0. We could see them in the Super Bowl tournament later on in a few weeks. That's a 6-yard gain for Bulich. Sistrunk on the tackle. I don't believe that is Otis Sistrunk. It is Manny Sistrunk out of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I would think they would be related, right? 2nd and 4. Outside run, Maitland. And Maitland's going to get the first if it holds.
Illegal motion. Offense. Number 33. 5-yard penalty.
It will not hold. Hennon called for the offsides. Illegal motion. We're going to go or on the short out on 2nd and 9. United's 10-17. Now he's 11 for 18 after an 11-yard catch for O. Or Owens on the stop, their better safety. And it's now a 1st and 10 at the 32. Let's go to Mitchell. Try to exploit that matchup against Jacques. We'll put him in a short slant. Looks open, but Unitas fired the bullet, and Mitchell didn't seem ready for it. Right now, a 2nd and 10. We're going to go outside the Bulich. That is good for
offense.
2, but
Number 88, 15-yard penalty.
A drive killer. Holding 15 yards, and it's going to be a 2nd and 25. Short quickie to Mackey on 2nd and 25. He's got it. Little running room. He'll get past the first down. He's at the 40 to 30 to 20 to 10, and down at the 4. 79 yards for Mackey, giving him 2 catches for 87. And that puts Unitas at 12 of 20 for 228. How about that? Inside run. Bulich. He's down to the 2. Sistrunk on the stop for the Redskins, but the Colts now with a very pivotal moment with early in the 4th quarter to try to get their lead to 2 scores. We'll go back to Bulich, and he's going to score. Touchdown, Colts. O'Brien for the point after to try to make it a 10-point game, which he does, and it's 27-17 in favor of the Colts. Vactor back deep, and now the Redskins got work to do. It's not going to be Vactor taking it. I think that is Nye.
Illegal block. Receiving
Dyer,
team,
I'm sorry.
10-yard penalty.
And the penalty on the kickoff return is going to back the Redskins 2 to 10. So they're going to have to play conservatively here. We're going to go Brown, off tackle right. Baltimore was looking for the pass, so Brown gains 5, and Stukes makes the stop for the Colts, who lead by 10. Pitch left. Brown on 2nd and 5. There's going to be a penalty here. It's going to be
offsides. Defense. Number 78, 5-yard penalty.
Well, that's clearly Bubba Smith, and that's an offsides against the defense, which is going to be declined. Brown with an 11-yard gain to put him at 62 yards on the day on 16 carries. Now the Redskins will open things up and look for John Henderson, their third receiver. That is incomplete, and it's going to be 2nd and 10. How about a screen to Brown here with 10:13 left? Brown, he's going to get this one, and he's going to get a first down to pick up the 13. Grant making the stop, and it's now a 1st and 10 at the 39. 10 minutes now left in the game. Short out, Roberts. 1st and 10 from the 39. Big blitz coming from Baltimore, but the pass goes to Charlie Taylor. Charlie Taylor is just wiggling his way down to the 8 before Curtis could get to him. 6 catches, 126 yards for Charlie Taylor out of Arizona State. And so now a 1st and goal at the 8. We're going to look to Jerry Smith on the short hitch. And Jurgensen fumbles. Recovers the fumble. Volk got the strip, could not get the pumpkin, and Washington's going to keep possession, but it's a 7-yard loss, setting up a 2nd and goal from the 15. We'll go back to Taylor on the medium slant. Incomplete.
Holding. Offense. Number 74, 15-yard penalty.
Bad time for the Redskins to pick that up as Snowden is called for the holding. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 30. Screen to Haraway. 7:45 left. Colts could still be in a little bit of trouble.
Pass interference.
Oh,
defense.
look at that.
Number 51, 5-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
Colts could not just stand the prosperity they were getting defensively. Grant gets called for pass interference, and the Redskins have new life at the Colt 25 with 7:34 to go. How about Henderson on the short hitch? It's there, and it's complete for 7. Logan on the tackle. Jurgensen now to 13 of 24, 246. Taylor on the slant. Incomplete. The timing was just a little off. Setting up 3rd and 3. And if Washington does not get the first, I imagine they will kick the field goal here and take their chances on the last drive. If they have a last drive. Here's Brown. Gets the first.
Encroachment, defense.
They will take
number
that.
74, 5-yard penalty.
And that's the other Smith, Billy Ray Smith. And it's 1st and goal at the 5. 6:31 to go. Time becoming a problem now also for the Redskins. 10th play of the drive. Well, actually, this is the 11th, and that's the no yardage play for Haraway. Man in motion, we're going to look to Richter here on the short hitch. Pat Richter. That's a interception by Grant, and that's going to be huge for them. He will not take it out. He just takes a knee in the end zone. Bob Grant is heard. And in the game, he has made 7 tackles, 1 pick. And in the 3 games prior, he had 22 tackles for 1 interception. That was a reference to Bob Grant. I think he was a talk show host up in New York. Got him here in the Tampa Bay area. My former home sweet home. I lived in Tampa for most of my life. Last 2 years I've lived in Leesburg and now Umatilla. I'm doing this from Leesburg because I'm dog sitting. But that's the Orlando market. It's kind of like the northern western suburbs of Orlando. So a 1st and 10, and now if you're Baltimore, you just want to chew up the clock and spit it out. Bulatich gains 4. Sistrunk on the stop. 5:32 left. And we'll go to Maitland here just to mix it up on 2nd and 6. Gain of 2. Maitland on the day, 4 carries, 6 yards. Bulatich, 13 of 42 with a touchdown. And we'll go to Bulatich here. Even though it's 3rd and 4, the goal is to make Washington either call timeouts or to milk the clock. And that's a gain of 11. Bulatich, it takes the advantage of Jacqua missing a tackle. McClinton finally gets to him at the 37. So a new set of downs now for the Colts, who lead by 10. And they're sitting in the catbird's seat now. And Maitland just gets back to the line. 3:06. And they won't have to call a play unless Washington uses a timeout until 2:27 or so. Bulatich. That's a gain of 5. 2:19 left. Washington hanging on to those timeouts. 3rd and 5. We're going to go full house. And we're just going to run a triple option left. Looking for Norm Bulatich. Unitas keeps it. Gain of 3. The goal was to make Washington call a timeout, which they did. 1:51 left. The ball at the 45. David Lee will punt it away. Washington will try to return it, try to make something happen here. There's Lee getting the kickoff. The return will start from about the 7. Got a little of oomph on that. Vector had it at the 9, returned it 5 to the 14. So 1:46 left, and the Redskins now trailing by 10. They need a score, and they need it soon. They have 2 timeouts remaining, so you don't want to use them if you can avoid it. Jurgensen looking for Taylor, and that is off his hands. Jurgensen at 13 of 27 for 246. 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. We'll look to Jerry Smith on a medium out on 2nd and 10 from the 14, 1:38 left. That's going to be an incompletion. Going to have to go for it on 4th if we don't get the 3rd. How about Taylor in the slot on 3rd and 10? That's overthrown. 4th and 10. This is pretty much the last chance for the Skins. They're going to go put 3 to the right side. They're going to go medium fly, and Jurgensen's going to have to throw here. We're going to look to Charlie Taylor. 1:26 left now. That's incomplete. Baltimore gets it on downs. Now, they can't kneel with 1:21 left. They're just going to call some safe plays and hope that they don't score. How about Maitland? Just play it safe. Gain of 2. Washington's going to burn their timeouts. 1:13 to go. Bulaich, his 16th carry of the day, is for no gain. Washington now out of timeouts. So Colts are going to have to kick a field goal here, it looks like. 3rd and 8. Unitas on the dive. Again, we're just playing it safe. We don't want to fumble. Gain of 1. A tackle by Hamburger with an N. And Baltimore will let the clock run down to 21 seconds before Jim O'Brien comes on and tries a field goal of 18 yards. Which he gets. 30-17 with 17 seconds left to go in our contest. So Baltimore's going to win. They're going to go 4-0. That looked like a squib kick. And that's going to take precious seconds off the clock. Dyer, an 11-yard return. Nichols making the tackle. We have 9 seconds left in our contest. Medium out to Roberts with 9 seconds to go. Pretty immaterial now. Taylor looked like he caught it. Stukes drilled him, and that knocked the ball loose. 3 seconds left. We just might as well just hurl one up there to Taylor. There's the long throw. Incomplete. I might take that back. That was an interception by Jerry Logan. So Jurgensen finishes the day with 3 interceptions and a terrible day. 13 of 32 for 246. The Colts win 30-17. Unitas, the better passer on rating, 12 of 20, 228, 1 touchdown. Only was sacked once. Larry Brown had the best rushing day, 17 of 75. Taylor led in receptions and yardage, 6 for 126. And let's look who had the best day defensively. Well, it was Hilton and Grant. I'd give it to Grant because he had the 1 interception. They each had 8 tackles. And Volk will get credit for the MVP award. And we'll be back in just a moment. Tell you who won the other games right here on the Big Paulie's World of Sports Sims YouTube channel. So after playing all the other Week 4 games, we have 3 teams left undefeated at 4-0, undefeated and untied. Miami is 3-0-1. So basically we have 4 teams that have yet to lose in this Alt 1970 season, Alt-NFL. Let's get started with a surprise in the Big D as Los Angeles has defeated Dallas 20-17. Roman Gabriel throwing a pass to Truax with 27 seconds left. He was the MVP of the game as the Rams make a comeback and beat Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. Gabriel went 14 of 33, 116 yards, threw 2 TDs, was sacked twice. So we thought the West Division would be a battle between Dallas, Oakland, and San Francisco, and Los Angeles has gotten into the argument. Battle of New York teams, the Jets upend Buffalo 20-17. The MVP here was Emerson Boozer, who ran 17 for 49 and 1 touchdown, but his 1-yard touchdown run counted for the go-ahead score, and that gives New York a 20-17 win. They get their first win of the year. They are 1-3. Buffalo has now fallen to 1-2-1. New York and Philadelphia, normally in the NFC East, they're in that big 7-team Eastern Division, and the Giants give Philadelphia another loss. They started 2-0, now they're 2-2 after a 24-7 Giants win. Johnson, a running back, ran 195 yards on 29 carries, 3 touchdowns, 56 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, and the Giants have now moved up to 2-2 on the year. Cleveland and Pittsburgh in a Midwest Division battle. The Browns win 31-21. Despite a late rally by Terry Bradshaw from 31-7 down, they got 2 late touchdowns, one to Smith, one to Shanklin. The MVP of this game was Leroy Kelly, 22 carries, 110. He also was targeted but didn't catch any passes. So the Browns have moved up to 2-2. They are currently, beg your pardon, that was a Mid-East division game. They are 2 behind Cincinnati and a game and a half behind Miami. Another Mid-East division battle for you was Cincinnati 16-14 over Detroit. And your MVP here was Bill Bergey. Bergey here was playing for the Bengals. It was before he moved to Philadelphia, and the beauty about doing this universe is he may never move to Philadelphia. Might play for another team as the seasons progress. You don't know. The only season that's going to pretty much stay the same is 1970. He had 9 tackles, 1 pick for 23 yards. And Horst Mullman, got the field goal to put Cincinnati ahead 16-14, so they win. And Cincinnati is now 4-0 on the year. Miami, everybody's beaten up on the Atlanta Falcons. It was 45-24, and it was closer than you think it was. It was more of a blowout than you think it was because Atlanta got a couple of touchdowns late. Bob Greasy, the MVP, he threw in 20 of 23 for 334. 3 touchdowns, was sacked 3 times, but that did not matter. So the Dolphins now 3-0-1. They're just a half game behind Cincinnati, but they will play each other twice before the season is over. Minnesota 17-3 over Chicago. This was a Midwest division game. Minnesota has moved to 3-1. They're 1 behind St. Louis right now. St. Louis is still undefeated at 4-0. We'll get to that in a moment. Hilgenberg, the MVP, as they were playing in light rain in Wrigley Field. But Chicago could only muster 3 points. Hilgenberg, 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 pick. And the only touchdown was Osborne had 2 touchdowns. 17-3, the Vikings over the Colts. Of course, the Vikings were in the Super Bowl the prior year, Super Bowl IV, 1969. Kansas City just beaten up on everybody, with the exception of St. Louis. And that game you saw in Week 3, 48-14 over Green Bay. And it was 41-7 at the half. So Kansas City, very impressive. Podolak, an 18-yard touchdown run and a 16-yard touchdown run in the first half. Podolak went 10 for 112, 2 touchdowns. He also caught a pass for 10. Lenny Dawson gave way to Mike Livingston at the end. 10 of 19, 184 yards for Lenny, who matriculated the ball down the field early and often. The Chiefs 3-1. They are tied with Minnesota for second in the Midwest. St. Louis 34-23 over the Saints. Hart 13-25, 231 yards on the day. He was the MVP. You see what he did there. He threw 3 touchdowns. 1 to Gillum, 2 to Smith. And this is when the Saints were playing at Tulane Stadium. This was a few years before they started playing in the Superdome. And St. Louis over the hapless Saints, 34-23. We have 3 teams at 0-4 right now, Boston, Atlanta, and New Orleans, so they'll probably be fighting it out for the first draft pick. Denver 15-10 over Houston, and we get another safety in this, a safety alert. Washington picked up that safety. Houston was leading 10-3. He picked it up early in the third quarter, and that cut it to 10-5. Howfield with a field goal to make it 10-8. And then Aliski threw to Whalen 10 to make it 15-10. So Washington on the day for the Broncos. 3 tackles, 2 sacks, but one of them was for a safety, as you saw. And Denver is 1-3, and they are fighting it out in the basement with Houston in the Western Division. In a battle of the 2 Bay Area teams, and they're going to meet twice in this Western Division in Alt-NFL 1970. The 49ers 33 and the Raiders 17. So the 49ers go to the Oakland Coliseum and beat them convincingly. John Brodie was the MVP. He had 1 touchdown pass, 2 touchdown passes, one to Washington, the other was to Victor with a W. 15-24, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, a rating of 116. So Oakland falls to 2-2, and they are in a battle with LA and Dallas for third in the Western Division. San Diego, 31-14. They've been sort of a surprise team, but they do have talent on that squad. And Cap, who was traded to Boston in the offseason after leading the Vikings to Super Bowl IV, had a bad day. Hadel, your MVP, and we'll get to Cap in a moment. Hadel, 9-20, 142 yards, but he threw for 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 6 times. Cap, 9-22, 56 yards, 1 pick, was sacked 4 times. Playing in balmy conditions in San Diego. So San Diego 3-1 and has been a factor early in this Alt-NFL 1970 season. And you just saw Baltimore beat the Redskins 30-17. They are 4-0. So we have 4 teams with no losses yet. So where do we go in week number 5? Well, let's just look this over a little bit. These are going to be the same matchups as week 3. Kansas City and St. Louis are going to be playing again, but we just played that in week 3, so we're not going to play this time. Try to find the 3, 2, 5. We just did Baltimore. I don't want to do Baltimore again. 4, 6, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 5. Oh, Denver and Oakland is 3. I'm going to do Cleveland and Cincinnati for you Wednesday night. The 14th of May. So Cleveland and Cincinnati will be our big game of the week 5 of the Alt-NFL season. We'll do a Mid-East Division battle, a battle of Ohio teams. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. I am doing this away from my home location in Umatilla. I'm doing this in Leesburg. But I hope you enjoyed our broadcast of Week 4 of the Alt-NFL. We will be back Week 5, Wednesday night, Cleveland and Cincinnati. This has been Big Paulie coming to you, wishing you Godspeed, God bless. We will do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.